Stress. Let's start out thinking stress in a physical format. You know, when you push a lot of pressure on something, it can take it to an extent. But if you keep pushing and pushing, what happens then? It'll break, it'll give way. So you'll have to stop because it's broken. But you also know at the same time, it's like, I'm putting too much stress on that. It may not last, it may not be made for that. Well, if we compare the same thing to ourselves, that if we keep repetitively doing stress over and over again on what we're thinking, the body's going to get, I can't take this at the moment. We have to change something. The body's like, hey, how can I tell you to change something? I'll give you a warning signal. You may feel unhappy. You may feel like you can't get out of bed. But you see what I'm suggesting? That all this is very, very natural. This is the way the body and mind's created. And if we start looking at how amazing is that? The mind and body was created to help us. Because when people are feeling stress, the first thing they think is, oh, why me? I've got this. I don't feel good. But it's not there really. The stress is not there to harm us. Because originally stress was created for what reason? To protect us. The old days, if you could be out in the fields and mountains, wherever you may be, there may be an animal thinking that, oh, I like this person. He could be my next meal. So then it was created that, hey, you need to get this extra energy to your arms and legs to get out of that way of that animal. They're going to treat you to be the next meal. So there is a very, very good reason to have that stress. But the problem is our mind and body doesn't know the difference between what the truth is and what we've created in our mind. So if we create something in our mind, it's going to keep going over and over again because the mind and body is not going to filter out what's one way the other way. It's just a natural part that was created there for a very good reason, to help us be better people. You may say, but this stress isn't helping me. That is because when you're in the stress, you're in fight or flight and you can't see anything else. So one of the key things I find very helpful. What do you mean by that? We're not going to get into any fancy breath work. Just feel yourself breathing in and out. If you can do it through your nose, well, I can't do it while I'm talking, but just spend a few seconds breathing in and out through your nose. Now what's happening while you're doing that? You're starting to becoming aware of what's going on. And we're coming back to being present. It may not be easy. You may not be able to sit still while you're listening to this. That's fine. You may only sit still for a couple of seconds. That's fine. You may want to walk around. That's fine. You may even want to stand on your head. Choose whatever you want. Not that I'm suggesting that you do, but do what's easy. Because if you're going to try and force yourself to sit down or do this or do that, you find it funny, isn't it? Generating more stress. We're trying to eliminate the stress. So, as I said, try and breathe through your nose. You're going to say, well, I have a blocked nose. That's fine as well. Breathe through your mouth. Do whatever you can. Breathe in and out, whichever way you feel most comfortable with. Maybe you can try it one way. Try it another way. So we're just going to breathe in. Guess what happened? We're starting to bring ourselves back in because stress is very well known to make the breath work irregular. So that's like feeding into that more stress. It keeps going over and over. So we've got to try and break the cycle. But also keep in mind that if the mind and body created stress, what does that mean? You have the ability to recreate it. Because once it's created, it becomes subconscious. So now we're going to start breathing, and what does that do? Brings us into the conscious. Brings us here present, right here, right now. And it might only be for 2 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it is. Take it as a beautiful, perfect win. What do I mean by that? That before you didn't even notice any little step. Every little step can be like a major, major step. Because many little steps make a big step. But one big step is very, very, it's like, it's hard to keep your balance. But if you take those little steps, it can keep you securely on the ground. So the breath work, and now you're feeling your abdomen, you're feeling your body. You may even feel some tension, and you may not feel anything. But whatever you feel or don't feel right now is perfectly fine. We've got to take the stress away instead of creating a new stress. And the interesting thing too is these patterns or habits or learned habits, they almost can be like addictive. The body falls back into that pattern of the old way. But that's fine. Just be aware of it. We're not trying to fight it. We're not trying to change it or ignore it or get rid of it. Just simply learning about it. You could call it acknowledging it, whatever you like. It's just noticing what's happening. Noticing that if there's some certain parts of your body feel stressed, external or internal, maybe your stomach, maybe your shoulders, maybe your neck, I don't know. Maybe you're going to say, I just feel numb. That's fine. Or I don't feel anything. That's fine as well. But to be aware of it, because being in present, you start bringing the power back to yourself to make the choices. And through the choices, you can reprogram it. Because otherwise, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. But if you keep getting the same results and you're unhappy with it, then what has to happen? Logically, you have to change it. Like the same thing with putting stress, putting pressure on something. It's going to give way eventually. That's the part we don't want. So we become aware of it. I'm putting stress, subconscious, emotional stress by my thoughts, by my feelings. But stress is like you could be feared of something. But you can be aware that you're feared. That's beautiful. Because remember, these signals are amazing, amazing signals. They're there to help you make changes, help you be aware that if you go into it, I feel stressed. But really, what is that? That's a learnt habit. So if it's learnt, it can be relearned. But as we're talking, just keep being a notice of your breath. What your body is. Oh, you can't keep still, that's fine. You want to walk around, that's fine. We're just welcoming up to the world of being open to whatever the feeling is, being alert to the feeling of about to feel something. Because stress is a very, very strong part of shutting down our emotions to survive. So that's fine. Take a breath. Don't have to do hard breath, just take the breath to enjoy being present. Maybe you're saying, I'm sitting down, it's hurting, I need to stand up. Amazing, you're learning to have those feelings, so beautiful. Maybe you want to lie down right now, try it. This is a part of discovery. We discovered that stress isn't working for us. So if it's not working, then we can replace it. We have to replace it in a very calm way. So becoming in a calm way is so important because we're open to make changes. Have you ever tried to do something under pressure and say, again, I fell into the old habit? Because it's going to fall into it easy because that's a dominant feeling, thought. So let's change it to what we do want in a calm way. And it also allows us to open up to the endless possibilities out there. That's what we're trying to do, is open up to endless possibilities instead of like, I feel stressed, I don't want to go through this again. So now, let's look at it another way. What's coming my way? I can use that and use it like a third party or an analyst. What's coming in? What signals coming in? What signals am I giving myself? And maybe it's stress from a phone call or someone talking to you or having to go somewhere. The signal's there, okay. I have choices. That's the most beautiful part, is knowing the choices. And from experience, when you start knowing you have choices, it can take a lot of stress and pressure off ourselves, because instead of saying, I'm stressed, I'm stuck, I'm locked in, I have no other choices. Then when you get there, it's like, it feels like it's all over. But now you can bring yourself back to present. Use your breath. And you say, I have choices, but you can say, I don't know what the choice is. That's beautiful as well, because you're realizing, I don't know what choices are. But we can always just try. Maybe the first time is not the right one. But that's all part of the journey, because every time you try, it's like, this works, it doesn't work. That's fine too. But it's a process of elimination. That didn't work. As long as it's not harmful, then what's the problem? You're trying, because you know the old way is not working. So let's try it a new way.